By the time Ethan noticed the message, it was already marked unsent. That was what unsettled him. Not what it said, but the fact that it almost existed. The notification had flashed briefly on his phone while he was in a meeting. A familiar name. Laura, then nothing. When he checked, the chat was empty, as if the moment had imagined itself. Ethan stared at the screen longer than necessary. He hadn't spoken to Laura in 3 years. Not since the night everything ended quietly. No shouting, no dramatic goodbye. Just exhaustion, distance, and a shared decision not to fight anymore. They told themselves it was mutual. They told themselves it was mature. They lied. Ethan had built a new life since then. A better job, a cleaner apartment, a woman who loved him in a stable, uncomplicated way. Everything worked. Everything made sense, except that one unsent message. He told himself not to overthink it. People unsent messages all the time. Accidents happened. But the feeling lingered, settling somewhere behind his chest. That night he dreamed of a train station he had never been to. Laura stood on the platform, holding a phone, watching him from a distance. She didn't wave. She didn't speak. She only waited. He woke up before dawn. Laura hadn't planned to reach out. She had promised herself she wouldn't. 3 years was enough time to bury something properly. She had moved cities, changed routines, rebuilt herself piece by piece. She told herself she was healed. Then her doctor said one sentence that cracked everything open. "We should talk about your options." That was all. Calm, professional, gentle, but fear has a way of rearranging memory. And suddenly, the only person she wanted to speak to was the one she had trained herself to forget. Ethan. She typed his name slowly, surprised she still remembered how it felt to say it. The message wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional, it was simple. "Are you still who you were when you loved me?" She stared at it for a long time. Then she deleted it. Some questions she knew couldn't be answered without destroying something else. 2 days later, Ethan saw Lara in a place she should not have been. He was standing in line at a café near his office, distracted, scrolling aimlessly, when he heard someone laugh behind him. Soft, familiar, unmistakable. He turned. Time behaved strangely in that moment. The room seemed too small, too quiet. Laura stood there holding a cup she hadn't paid for yet, her hair shorter, her eyes older. She looked healthier and more fragile at the same time. They stared at each other without speaking. Finally, she smiled. Not warmly, not sadly, carefully. "Hi, Ethan." He managed her name. Nothing else. They talked about nothing important. Work, cities, weather. The kind of conversation people have when they are avoiding the past. When she said she had to go, he felt something close to panic. Before he could stop himself, he asked, "Did you try to text me?" The silence between them sharpened. Laura looked at him for a long moment and said, "Would it matter if I did?" He didn't know how to answer. She nodded slowly, as if his silence confirmed something painful but expected. "Take care," she said, and walked away. That night, Ethan sat alone, unable to focus, replaying every word. His phone buzzed. A new message. From Laura. This time, it wasn't unsent. "I didn't message you by mistake. I stopped myself on purpose. If you ask why, I'll tell you. If you don't, I'll understand." Ethan stared at the screen. He thought about the life he had built, the woman who trusted him, the quiet stability he had worked so hard to earn. Then he typed one word. "Why?" The typing bubble appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. The message that finally came was only one sentence. "Because I'm running out of time."